Oh, yes, yes, it is me. It is me, the illustrious one. I'm still alive, I think. Let's try to adjust the camera. Remember when we say that I used to go many years ago to the strip clubs and the women go, "Would you like to adjust yourself?" And I was like, "Okay, well, what the fuck does that mean?" You know, never understood what that meant. You know, adjust yourself. But if they're giving you a lap dance and your dick is getting hard, does that mean take it out? What do you mean adjust yourself? What the fuck does that mean? Speak English, you know? Who is it? There was some rap song and the guy goes, contrary what you may have been told, there is no sex in the champagne room. I don't know, I think it was like Chris Tucker or something like that. He goes, there's no sex in the champagne room. I don't know why. There's gonna be a lot of distractions in this one, man. Uh, between me coughing and we'll get to that in a second. And this computer, as you can hear, just pretend you're out in the country and there's crickets. And I will be getting a new one very soon. That class is finishing up in a couple of days, so once that's done, we'll get a new cheap laptop. Sorry, this is part of the deal here. Today's the 10th. Today's Wednesday. Um, sorry. It was, so what happened was, now I generally don't get colds. I mean, well, I maybe every 2 to 3 years I get a cold, right? And it's been about that long. Um, I take very good care of myself. I work out every day, like, well, I would consider it natural bodybuilding. I know I don't look big compared to these. The light goes out in Georgia again. It's gonna be going off a lot, but um, it's interesting that I was watching the interview with Mike O'Hearn and Sean Roden. He passed away a couple days ago. And I guess when the camera angles and you can't really tell the size of these guys. But let me tell you something. It's even Sean Roden was a 300 pounds off season. Of course, see him on stage, he looked real lean, like 250. But that is a very, very short lived on stage. They prep for that show, and once that show's over, it's right to the off season. It's very hard. What those guys put themselves through. I remember watching like Jay Cutler before the Olympia. He's like laying on the ground and backstage because it's cooler. I mean, it was really, really borderline insanity what those guys. You think, oh, it's just they take steroids and they train really hard and they eat a lot and um, it's a lot. It's for what? Like, who really cares, right? I mean, it's like everybody knows Arnold, but they don't even know Frank Zane was. I mean, Phil Heath or whatever, Lee Haney. It's a real subculture of, and that's why they had to like expand it. Have like all these different things because just that one show to have like these giant behemoths. It's not exciting. It's not like at least WWE. It's a combination of everything. It's like theatrics. It's character. It's yeah, these guys are like like bodybuilders also, but they used to be characters, man. I watched this thing. I grew up in the '80s, and still growing up. But I was watching this. I was watching this thing on the Ultimate Warrior back in 1990 with like the feud with Hulk Hogan and everything. I remember watching that um, WrestleMania 6. It was on pay per view. I couldn't afford it, but I remember seeing it scrambled, but I could hear the audio fine. It was unbelievable. Like in the Toronto Skydome, it was sold out, and the passing of the torch, it's the most incredible thing, Like I heard the audio clearly, scrambled, and it was like listening to it on the radio, kind of, but I couldn't see it. And I remember, like, the Ultimate Warrior, he kicked out of the leg drop, and I hear like Gorilla Monsoon, doing the commentary. He was so good. And it was that these guys. I remember Saturday Night's Main Event, like around that time, and seeing like the Ultimate Warrior, seeing size, these guys built on these guys, the characters. I fell in love with it, like I just was like, wow, this is the most amazing thing. Like Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, that was the most amazing fucking, you know, I just love it. I mean, how could you not? Back then, those characters, there was some kind of weird, some characters I didn't really care about, Haku and whatever, with Barry Horowitz, Iron Mike Sharp. I can name them all. I can go down the line. But they were like, I remember the Barbarian, the Warlord, around the late 80s, mid 80s, and $1 Million Man. I remember when he came out with that $1 million belt, Hulk Hogan, the Rick Rude. What I'd like to have right now. I mean, it was just like fucking amazing. It was like primetime wrestling on USA Network. It was, and then Roddy Piper co-hosted with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, out there. It was a big feud. I remember I watched it all. It was so great. He goes, I'd come there in that studio, and then Rick Rude was a guest. And he was like, if I fucking come over to that studio, I'll kick your ass. It was great. And then he showed up. That was good. What you gonna do, Piper? Like Roddy Piper didn't give a fuck. He wouldn't take shit from anybody. Nothing. Not even Andre. Nothing. He was just incredible. And then these guys start dying, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Piper's dying. Ultimate Warrior. You know, Rick Rude. Yeah, I remember Rick the Model Martel. I remember still around. These guys got to be starting to get up there. They have to be. And then like during the '90s, I didn't follow it. I like the early '90s, like I tell you, 1991, when the Undertaker first came in. And I got to meet all these guys. A friend tipped me off to where they were staying in downtown. I'm sorry, by the airport, LAX, and I went and I met everybody. I met the Undertaker as a rookie. I met Bret Hart. I met $1 Million Man. Uh, Everybody, the Ultimate Warrior. And I just remember how big these guys were. I remember Hogan. I stood right next to him. He signed. Before he went up in the elevator, he signed a little card for me, and I remember how the size of these guys. And I was very, very small. Like I was a high school baseball player. I was maybe 115 pounds, whatever, 5'6" or something like that. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe how big these guys were, um, in person, like being right there and getting to meet them, like just me and them, like in the hotel. It wasn't a convention. Like there's something really magical for me. It's always been when you can meet somebody of that of popularity, like somebody, and you're not seeing a crowd. You're just, it's them and you. It's I can't describe it. It's the most incredible thing, getting somebody's undivided attention and finding out like what makes them special. Like how did they? You can say, well, genetics, they're big, but no, 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 no. All these guys worked real hard, came up in like little promotions, like really, and hung in there, like perseverance. You're meeting people like, I remember the night before WrestleMania 21, I was at the House of Blues. I already shared my John Cena story, and the guy like gave me undivided attention. I couldn't believe this. Like, because he saw like now. I can look up, because I have like logs going back to what I weighed, what I kind of look like. Um, I remember, it can make you look a little different. It's that if you wear like certain form-fitting things. I remember that, people are saying, "Wow, your arms are like Big Papa Pump." They were telling us. They were not like that. If you're like for a bodybuilder, let's say you're like 165 pounds, and you are pretty damn solid. You could have some decent sized arms. They're not wearing big like Big Papa Pump, but you see, like I'm kind of a thin kind of frame, so I had like this real form-fitting, um, it wasn't a dress shirt. It was like it was a collared shirt. It was kind of a tight material. I forget what it was, but it fit me perfectly. It showed like a really good V shape, and my arm like they were not bad for me. So I remember like I'm standing there in the hallway, and John Cena sees me, kind of like I know he's trying to stop himself from laughing. I don't know why. He approached me, he goes, "How you doing, dude?" You know, like, and I remember he put his hand out, like, and it was like this big. I mean, never forget like a diamond. I mean, I'm not kidding. I was like a, maybe I was a little, maybe, I'm trying my weight thing. It's not that important, but like I remember I was like a fucking diamond. Man. I remember because after WrestleMania 20, I got real serious in the lift, even though I was pretty serious even, but so he came up to me, put his hand out like this, and he was just wearing like a I forget like a t-shirt. It was kind of loose. I don't know. It must have been huge because his fucking arms. I remember the size of his forearms. They were gigantic. So this guy's like 240 something probably whatever. I'm like 175 like a diamond, but the guy like come on, at 6'1", 240, pretty damn solid on growth, and you didn't have to tell me. Like I know, I've been around too long. I know what people are taking. It was like I would look like a twerp. Well, I'm kind of hard on myself. I don't think I look like a twerp, but it's it's still you. I remember like I was in a hotel one time, like, even a couple years later, and some of the people that were with the WWE, they said you're not as big as John Cena. I said I never said I was. So in a way, they're giving me a really good compliment, saying that means I'm something. Um, but again, these people their whole dream was to become professional wrestlers. They went to like not AEW, XPW was that video, and you're talking late '90s. Um, these guys were starting. If not, I remember seeing a thing with Edge in like the early '90s when he's I don't think it was Sally Jesse Raphael. I forgot who it was, but Bret Hart was the guest of honor, and people in the crowd, and there's Edge with somebody else. You're talking like you know they were just starting the train. They wanted to become wrestlers, and Bret Hart was giving them Hitman was giving them advice. Um, again, you're talking about a select. There's people that have tried to I listen to like Mike Quackenbush talk about this. It's a select group in people that have made it for a little bit of time, and it's over. They get released and it's done. You go to excuse me. Um, it's a road that not many people can do. That you're not going to make it. It's now I equate that to my dancing because I started dancing when I was around 20, so that was around 93. I really kind of got into it. I fell in love with it. Yeah, around 92, 93, I started to, because it was like, I was curious. It's Michael Jackson. I wanted to see. Well, I started copying his type of music. It came kind of easy to me because I was always in athletics. So I became like a freestyle dancer. I already talked about this last episode, novelty act dancer and stuff. Um, so what happened was today's Wednesday, the November the 10th. As I told you, on the weekend, I'd like to go out dancing, but this place near me, this piggy place, this DJ, he sucks, and no offense to him, but there's nobody in there, very rarely upstairs. Not a place, not a positive environment. He plays with his music. So this woman said, go to the den next door. So I went there like 2 weeks ago, and it was extremely crowded. And I was able to get in the vaccination card. It's not a big deal. It's too crowded, so the music wasn't that good. I said, I'm gonna go early. What I'm gonna do, and that's what I did. So, I wear kind of. It depends. If I'm gonna do my dancing, I like to hold the illusion motif, which is on. I mean, there's a couple of different styles, but basically, I'll wear a fedora with a sport coat, with my tennis shoes, whatever, jeans and shirt, for dancing. And the music, like the DJ, he started a set. So he started to like put on some. Now I'm starting to do some stuff. People are watching, and the problem with Den is that dark, and there's no real signed dance area. People walk, and they have like this one strip, and then there's like kind of in the back, but it's just not really good for dancing. Now this dark area, like somebody pours a drink, I mean somebody felt it's like wet where I was dancing. I was like, oh great. But he put on some decent stuff. He put this old Britney song. I forget what it's called. It's not "Oops, I Did It Again," but it's off of that album. Oh, it was a pretty tight song. And again, I explained how I do my choreography based on what I think would look cool. And these women were taking notice. I know for sure they're watching because they were actually approaching me. Um, so I did some dancing. People were like wearing like a dress shirt, and then over I had this tan sport coat. My face was getting a little sweaty, but I really didn't think I was like sick and everything. What happened was this guy like so I went outside, took a breather outside. There's on the patio. There was a big patio. One guy he put his hand on my like on my back. It was like soaked. I was like, Jesus, like you see, I'm gaining. I was just kind of surprised, the lining, the tan jacket. So sport coat. I didn't think I would be the fucking jacket, but it's a thin. It was a lining apparently. So whatever. Um, and the problem is, like, I remember there's a commercial. What was it? Never let them see you sweat. Like the people there, they're not there to dance and exercise. They're there to so much of this going on in there. Yapping. It's not. It's not. And see, my dancing is my communication. Done that for close to 30. That you don't want to be that dancing monkey, that dancing clown, like I keep saying. And I saw it was getting too crowded. It's not a place to really dance, I'm all sweaty. So I left. As I was walking out the door, now when that first guy came in, put his hand on my back kind of thing, I didn't like that. Now as I was leaving, another guy did it, some black guy, he did the same thing. So immediately I responded and I actually put my hand on his back. I did the same fucking thing. I had enough. But I didn't show a reaction of anger. He slapped me on the back, so I fucking made the exact same thing to him. And then I left. I guess it was part like frustration, my part, of like dancing, in a place that's not really designed for it, and me having a good time, not, really not meeting any. So I remember it was kind of cold that night, and I'm walking home, and my shirt is soaked. I put back on the jacket because I said, well, why are you wearing it? Because it's better to be insulated. That way the even though it's wet, it's better to be insulated. Even though the jacket wasn't really soaked, the shirt was, but the jacket will insulate me. And as I'm moving, I'm fine. I'm not cold. I got home and I get out of this shit. Well, let me digress. Before I went home, I stood outside the pig place, and the security guy there that I see all the time. I know he's trying to help me meet women, but he doesn't know like how picky I am, or he doesn't understand it. No offense to brothers and stuff, but he's just a little different, thinking process than the way that I think. Not that I'm better or anything. It's just he thinks a little different. So this woman, this stripper, comes up to him, gives him a hug and a kiss, and he points to like me. So she comes up and she didn't kiss me, but she kind of like just hugged me for a second and went away. And the guy, so once she went away, he goes, "Oh, I don't like it when they kiss me. She sucks or whatever." He went to the bathroom and came back. It's like, well, why'd you let her hug you then, kiss you? Why do you? Anyway, so I went home, and then the next afternoon, like around, what was it Sunday during the day, I started to get like in my throat. I started to get that feeling of that I was getting a cold, and I was like, oh shit, like I haven't had this in a long time, like 2 to 3 years. Um, I go, oh fuck, I hope it just goes away, but it didn't, and I was like, I know the way it works. What it does is starts here, and then it goes to your nose. So I go, fuck, this sucks. I'm gonna get sick. And I said, oh shit, I hope it's not COVID. That girl hugged me and that weather thing, my God, I hope. Then you see, you're paranoid. Your mind starts thinking, oh shit, I got this. Now, I feel like right now, today's Wednesday. This shit basically started. I think it was on Monday. Um, I think I forget really. Was it Sunday or Monday? I don't remember. Um, I don't think it's COVID. I could kind of tell because it's on its way out already. Like, you know, I go through like a day and a half of like tissues, and I'm blowing my nose and shit. And I couldn't really eat and shit, but I was able to eat. I was able to, have some food, and I just had, I could tell when my appetite starts coming back. That means the cool thing is on its way out. But I was trying to find like this vitamin C, like not lozenges, but like these type of chewables and stuff. I looked around all CVS. I couldn't. That's all I find is like um, generic vitamins, like like the pills. I couldn't find these. This like my friend was. That comes in a roll. I think it's supposed to be good for you. Like this it has a lot of vitamin C in there. Orange tasting. It's not candy, but I couldn't find it. I looked around the whole fucking place. So what I'm drinking right now, this is a ginger tea, because as you can see, I was coughing a little bit, still nose a little bit running, but it's getting a lot better. I'm kind of feeling better. And there's nothing to do. Like what I try to do is just sleep through it all. It's what are you gonna fucking do? 2 days, and that's really a long time for me. If I'm not lift, I told you I lift every day, and I was listening to what's that guy's name? Dave Palumbo talk about not, you gotta let your body recover, you gotta let it rest. That's when it grows. I agree. Um, but I think there's so many areas that you could train that you could be training every day. Well, if you do one body part a day, I don't. Well, back and lats. That's most people just call it back, but I call it back and lats. So that's one thing. I will put a little forearm work in there. Um, you know, I'll do like tries and traps. Legs are always individual by itself, but I don't do any count. When I say legs, it's lots. It's machine. I forget what that's called. And then they have this machine that it's a utility. I can use it. Uh, um, Hamstrings. It's like I don't know. I think it's called like back of your leg. And unique ways to hit legs. Legs are kind of a tricky muscle group. So I like to try to. Sorry about that. Find ways to work around things. On a good note, I found out I got this email for this Friday night. They're gonna have this disco. I got this thing like there's gonna be a disco thing. I think it's called Club Decades at Bortner's, and they showed like John Travolta kind of, motif of Saturday Night Fever. I go, this is for me. This is what I want to go. This is what I want to go. I want to do. So I'm hoping I'm okay by then, by Friday. If I'm not, Jesus, what the fuck? I've had the flu once before. Kind of scared me because I know how I got it. This chick rubbed all over me. I remember some napkin. And that's how I got the flu. Um, I don't think that's what this is this time. So I don't. So I think it was just the weather. It was a combination of like not having a cold in a long time, the weather change, me being soaked. I don't think it was that chick hugging me for a second. I really don't. I don't think it's COVID. I don't think it's flu or generic cold. Um, because I would know if there was something really different that was going on. Then I would go to the hospital, but it's not. It sucks though, like when you're kind of focused on working out, like, and you try not to get too paranoid. Oh, my gains are going away. Oh, my weight's dropping. Oh, it's all for nothing. It's not true. I know it feels like it because you feel weak and you're not pumped up and you're not lifting, but it takes more than a couple days of you not working out for everything to go away that you worked hard for it. It doesn't. It's not that simple. It might feel like it is, but it's not. Um. So forget what else I wanted to mention. So I hope to be okay. I would like to go for that Friday night. Instead of the same monotonous places where not really dance places. I don't care. It's $20, $15 to get in. It's my birthday. It'll be as I mentioned, it'll be my birthday, so it's kind of cool. I'm gonna be 48. It's like wow. You know. Well, also my school thing is going okay. I really hunkered down the last couple of weeks. I really got serious because I said, fuck, if I don't pass these classes, then I talked about losing my drive to get this doctorate degree thing. Um, but you know what? It's coming back. The drive is coming back because it looks like I'm gonna pass these classes, and pass that, then in January take the last two classes, and then start my capstone project next summer. So, you know, I kind of got a re motivation. More motivation to stick it out. And it was it's because I already got it. I got an EBS degree in higher ed admin, and I say to myself, what are you going to do? But you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It just shows. Excuse me. It just shows that you can finish what you start. Now I know there's like ACE programs. The ACE American College of Education, but they don't have financial aid. You got to pay out of pocket for that, and they also have like an EDD program, a long grind to get through. And I was like, no, I'm going to do this just through regular school. I've come this far. I mean, I already talked about this. I started doctoral level work at 44. I got my specialist degree at 46. I'm going to be 48 in a couple of days. And we're looking at another year and a half, but it's not like a year and a half more of work. Um, there's nothing I can do till January for those two classes. I wish I could take them. I just, the courses, the schedule of the semesters where I go, it overlaps. So there's nothing I could do till January. And that's fine. That's fine because those two classes that I'm going to pass, I mean, I basically failed because I dropped out, and that put me on probation. No financial aid, no nothing. So um, I made up. This is making up for it. Getting two B's or B minus. It's good enough. So I did the work. For 8 weeks, and times it wasn't that fun, but I hung in there. I really persevered, especially toward the end. I had my doubts, but I said, you know what? Let's hammer this shit out. And then by January, I'll be really driven to finish those last 2 classes to get me to the capstone phases. And I like that because it's not going to be a dissertation. I like that because I don't want to do a dissertation in those ways. I don't want to. I don't want to be pirates. Everybody says it's funny, but at least that was Seinfeld, by the way. The credit to I don't want to be a pirate. I mean, you ever think of how many comedians, they didn't. I never thought he was like Jerry Seinfeld was that funny. Not at all. Kramer, Michael Richards was the show. But you know what? And I never liked Elaine. I never liked Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I thought she's kind of a. It didn't make sense, Like you have a woman that's a friend that he's not sexually interested in, Like it's or they were, but they're not. And in the real world, that's not reality. I don't hang out with women that I'm not sexually interested in, It's like that dumb show Friends, But you see, you have to shows are not reality. They're based on reality, but they're believable fantasy is really what it is. It's believable fantasy. It's like Rocky. It's believable fantasy that a nobody would get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. But it would never, ever happen in the real world. It worked that way. Big time wrestling is different. WWE because it's still because it's not it's reality. These guys are really throwing each other around, but it's scripted and it's believable fantasy. The reality is Brock Lesnar was the UFC heavyweight champion. That's no doubt. That's reality. But the WWE Universal Championship or whatever World Heavyweight Championship, that's decided by whatever the company and the storylines and what they think would work, like to make everything flow. And it's believable fantasy, and people will pay, just like come on. We put these people on incredible pedestals. Look at The Rock. I mean, the movie business and the Star Wars. I mean, I told you I was a huge fan. I've never seen Mandalorian. I never saw Solo. I never saw it, but I went to opening night for episodes. Actually, opening night episodes 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, and 9. I think the Jedi, I might have been. I don't remember. But, the prequels and then the 7, 8, 9. That was their opening night. What happens if it's really something's done really well, promoted well? I'm not saying those movies were done well, but fantasy is it's an immense. That's what everybody watches. Television, movies. I mean, whatever it's it's story. It's in it and everything. I didn't care for the girl. I didn't like Finn. This Poe. That BB-8. I really was having a very difficult time with this where they're going here. And the Kylo Ren. I really didn't understand because there's no Emperor, there's no Darth Vader. I'm like, you gotta show me something. Now, when they showed Snoke, I really was like, all right, this is interesting. But they didn't show. It's like, remember, there's a hologram of him, this giant fucking thing. I said, but it really so when I was like, and I didn't like that because I wasn't the movie didn't kick ass. When I got DVD, I watched it a couple more times. This is not bad. I went to see the last one. I left the theater. I was almost irate how upset I was. I told my friend Chris, he's there. He goes, Mike, what's that? And I go, that was fucking awful. Like, you know, they had an incredible chance to like open this up into like a Empire Strikes Back kind of story, like something really fucking incredible. Um, you know, to follow that line, you know, and they didn't. They killed off Snoke. You know, they brought her in there like that was supposed to be the conclusion or something at the end of episode 9, and they completely poo-pooed it. um, I was extremely disappointed with The Last Jedi. I really thought they did not follow the mold of the Empire Strikes Back, which was a darker story. The fucking of all the three, of 4, 5, and 6, Empire Strikes Back was the best. Not by much, but it was. And then I would actually, believe it or not, I put Return of the Jedi as second because uh, conclusion, you know, the ending of how what happened. He turned Darth Vader and saved his son. I mean, that was like, wow, the Emperor, you know, he defeated. Like Luke couldn't beat him and hit him with that lightning. Oh my God, that was the most incredible thing. Is the power of the Emperor. You know, he's a sorcerer. You know, he didn't. He could, I forget who it was, Kazakian, whatever. Anyway, it's just the story. You know, Empire Strikes Back. You know, even A New Hope, the introduction of the characters and everything was you know, say anything bad about 4, 5, and 6 because you know it's put together so well. You know, like I remember my friend, he's not as big of a fan as I am, but he said the Ewoks killed it and stuff like that. Hey, you know what? Nothing is perfect. You know, I worry because you know I followed. I wasn't worried about the Ewoks. I was curious about you know Luke and Vader. You know the train like now. I've said this before. I'll say it one last. Daughter. I do not hold that contention at all. I can only imagine, you know, you write a script and this is going to be incredibly difficult to keep getting ahead of himself. And he goes, oh my God, here, I have two guys and I've got one woman. What's going to happen? Like, remember in Empire Strikes Back, like there's that lover's quarrel in Hoth, you know, Han Solo goes, nope. You could use a good kiss, sweetheart. You know, like he's leaving and they're arguing. There's building like sexual chemistry there. I knew it too. So the reason is why? Why did she choose Han Solo instead of Luke? And I guarantee Lucas says, well, I got to make them twins. I got to make them. She's forced. You know, he didn't know what to do. There was no outs. Like, why did she choose him? And that was the definitive reason. So he came up with this nonsense that they're brother and sister. It's not. It wasn't the initial story. It wasn't nothing. It was just he had to fucking get it out of that. He had to give he had to come up with something. And there's only so much time. There's only so you know you got to do fucking something to focus on the heart of the story. Now, 7, 8, 9. I know what the question was. Who's Rey's father? That was the real thing. That it's supposed to be Luke. It was a very simple thing. And they go, my friend Zeba goes, oh, it's too obvious. It's obvious. It doesn't. It's a mystery. That's what it's supposed to be. You know, when she touches a lightsaber and then like it calls to her and everything. It's supposed to be at the very end. You know, and he gives her a look like, you know, my daughter's here. You know, like the age. It's there's no question that is his daughter. They danced around it in The Last Jedi. Like, who are you? And then they said, no, they're going somewhere else. Once I heard that, I said, oh shit, what the fuck are they doing here? You know, what the hell are they doing and why? And so they scrambled. That's the whole thing. The argument was, is it Kenobi? Is it you know, is it a half brother, half sister of Han or something? You know, a half daughter? So what they did was they had to come up with. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I think I remember I had a decent reason as to, right, because if his mom is Princess Leia and Luke's the brother of Leia, that means it's his uncle. So they didn't want to have like her being Luke's daughter, because then it would have been like they would be first cousins, and that wouldn't make sense if they're kissing at the end. So they had to come up with something different, and so that's why they came up with her being Palpatine's granddaughter, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever because there was no, he's already really old in Return of the Jedi, and they threw him down the pit. And the whole thing was after they killed Snoke in the Last Jedi, they didn't know what to do. They're like, I know they were thinking at that point, but they basically said, okay, well, here's what we'll have this, and then we'll just do, look, they don't. Sometimes there's just so much involved time that they don't care. They don't care to think, and things don't work out that they planned. Let me give you an example. Him, he was supposed to be the future. But what happened was within the span of like 6 months, they said this guy he's too busy. Like he's got an incredible look, but and Hogan wrestled Sergeant Slaughter. I remember WrestleMania 7. That was here in LA. I remember. Well, actually snuck into the sports room before. It's another story. But that's my point. What you think, like this, they say, okay, well we're going to go with this, and it doesn't work, so you have to adjust accordingly. When you have a finished product, and you have it out there, it's like, I mean, you have no idea what it takes to fix something. Like J.J. Abrams, for the Rise of Skywalker, like they brought him back, and because they knew they listen. Can you because he did an incredible job with the Force Awakens, but it's too much um, to salvage. The damage has been done. Snoke's gone. And how are you gonna wrap this up? Who's her dad? Why? And they showed like this whole briefly in this dagger or whatever that was supposed to be Palpatine's son, and they showed their parents real briefly. They were nobody. Like, didn't make any sense. There's no reason. Palpatine's daughter, son, or something like that. Normal people, like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't get it sometimes. But again, like I just said, the complications of making something, they're under time pressure. Like, so look, you gotta have this movie out. We gotta like, doesn't matter. Like there's too much money. There's too much money involved for us to overthink things. Like, we gotta make sure we gotta have a black guy. We gotta have an Asian woman. We gotta have like I don't know, Oscar Isaac. Disney is all about equality, and I'm fine with that. Remember at the very end they had these two look like women, they were kissing, the aliens kind of thing, real quick. They had to throw that in there, diversity. Um, you see they push, and that's Disney, and so they push really hard with the black equality kind of thing, which years, and it shows like a little kid on a taking a big chance, and then I look closely at the poster. It's a little black boy, hosted by Don Cheadle. You see, they're and I don't really understand it. I don't like, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I can lie to you if you want, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't understand why. Um, Now the argument, black actors, we gotta we got to give them more opportunity. Why? You have to understand something now. Now, if you listen to what I earlier, entertainment is like delusional fantasy, delusional reality. It's not real. Perceived to be real. It's not. So now you have to understand. If you go back and you look at shows that were mostly like all black. Let's go a little. Yeah, they were all the Jeffersons. There was actually a white guy. I think it was like the doorman, the bellhop or whatever. But I remember, I have a good memory of this. I can name lots of shows that were all black. Two sets, the Cosby Show, Fat Albert's cartoon, but there's others. There was a market for it, but to understand target in this country was white people. The majority of households were white. So you got to make a show like the white people are not going to relate to it generally. So that's why there wasn't that many of them. That's why I can only name 5 off the top of my head now. A small majority. I mean, there's one Asian show like fresh off the boat. I mean, how many shows can you name with all Asian cast on major network television? That's the only one I can name. That's the only one I can name. There's, it's your target audience. It's not that many. Oh, I forgot to like Blackish, I guess, but that's now. I'm talking about back in the 80s, 70s and stuff. Cosby Show was like 1990. Of course, the other ones I mentioned, late 70s. What's Happening also. So, like, and I watched a little bit. I mentioned the shows like 2-7, What's Happening. I met Fred Roddenberry before he passed, too. Good Times I never really watched, but Janet Jackson was on it. Can you believe it? But it wasn't. I guess I don't speak for all white people, but I didn't watch a lot of. I mean, that's what I watched. That was back in like the mid '80s. No Place Child. We're at 227. Yeah, I remember. No place like home. Some of that it goes. There ain't no place, child. I remember that woman said that. It's funny. Forgot who it was, but I'm trying to illustrate a point about this. They're trying to a lot of these, the shows, but there's no reason that they should be pushing it this hard. Because no demand. There's no, I would say there was a very large increase in the Hispanic population in the country over the past 40 years. Maybe a little higher percentage of blacks, but still the majority is Caucasian, it's white. So you would think that the television would change that much because that, but ABC Disney controls ABC, they own ESPN, they own a lot of other things. So they're going to put on whatever they want. They also own, I think, so like the Disney ABC agenda, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why they would push, saying, well, people don't get opportunities. It's not that they don't get opportunities. There's no market for it. There's a big difference. Well, I try to get on these television shows. I would see a 47-year-old guy dance, whatever. it's just like a woman. It's the same thing. Like you look at like Britney Spears when she was young. The body was tight. Like as a 18, 19, even to 24 years old, whatever. I mean, that's what people want to see. They want to see a beautiful woman, dance and shake her. They don't want to see old, like, uh, you know, but I mean, think about it. Like, when you show a woman, like, on the movies or something, your ideal in your mind for a man is like, that's the kind of woman I want to fuck, like that's what you're thinking. That's why they show you that in a fan way. Um, Now, for men, it can be a little different because, men, the mature man is a marketable thing, older like women. No, they ain't pushing that. I saw some preview for that was and that chick from Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, whatever. Like, yeah, it's they ain't pushing no old fucking. You ain't gonna see Linda Carter and the fucking, the old woman already. I don't know if they're pissed, but there's nothing you could look. You can't the way it works. You're, a woman, is fond after when they're young and beautiful. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. I'm kind of can't believe I could leave with nothing. All those times me, like I'm kind of like odd, as a novel. Like I said, as a novelty act dancer, women they get you gotta go in there like, dude. I've had that kind of attitude before, but it's kind of weird because if I go to a place that I like to dance, kind of hard because a lot of women, like I say, they go there with their friends. There's Saturday in Orange County. There's a dance, Lemon Drop, the one that I would go to every once in a while, and it's like a Sadie Hawkins dance. I said I never heard of that person, so I looked it up and I said, well, who's the Sadie Hawkins? And it's like, apparently I don't know when it was in the 50s or something. There was this was basically that would approach men, notoriety for it. This thing where women could approach men. Sounds like my kind of thing. I like that. But the problem, if you look up, that Lemon Drop Club, and I'm gonna have to say this in the nicest way I can, because it's like I don't want to be disrespectful, but I want to be honest. It's how do I say this? These people got no juice. I mean, they got no like. There's no gas in the tank. Like, how do I say this? How do I fucking say this? You know, they're not. You know, ain't dressing up. You get really dressed up. Now the women do sometimes. Lemon drop thing. I'm not saying they don't, but on the house, we call schmatzer. That's like this garbage clothes. They're showed up at that lemon drop though. I remember, like in Anaheim, I got there early. Pinstripe suit, dress shirt. Dress shirt comes out. Um, when you dance, if you're like for me, it's not tucked in. There's no reason when you buy like a dress shirt that it's not long. The shirt doesn't go down to your fucking knees. Like it's tailored to where it's like um, under your belt line, of course, but above your ass. Like about halfway. Like you don't. You gotta be sharp, dude. You gotta be sharp. So, and then I wore like brand new. I had like these Asics of brand new shoes. I don't know why they call them tennis shoes. Three-piece suit and the brand new. With my street dancing, I look fucking tight. I still didn't get anybody. I still didn't. I was disappointed because like a month before they had it in Irvine. It was the first time I went to that club. No, I will retract. I went a couple of years ago at the Irvine Hilton ball, the biggest in front. It's pretty good size. Just set off a good. I went to the one in Irvine. It was small. It was smaller than the Hilton. And then the one in Anaheim was smaller than the one in Irvine. So the one in Irvine disappointed me the most because the floor is the one on the inside the flat is like so small. It's for people like 80 years old. 90. It's not a place to real dance. I'm gonna say this. I said this people drunk and stupid and all that kind of shit, but you gotta stay active, man. Saturday night, there's no reason to be going home 11 o'clock like it's over already. And like, Jesus, life out of them. And here I am, so I'm gonna be 48 in 2 days, and anyway, like I don't care. I do both because one, and time adds up anyway. Like I don't want to think about what anybody else thinks. Like at the den, I told you I showed up there in my fedora and my. I don't need their attention. I'm. It's like amazing. These people almost half your age, like just don't know what you do. Like I was dancing in contests before they were born, if they're half my age, before they were born. They show you some of these women, like, the rare, J Lo, 50 years old, Paula Abdul, what is she, 60 or something like that, mid 50s. You ain't finding anything like that when you go to this lemon drop thing. Like, no fucking way. Those are elite. They ain't going to those kind of places. I thought there was going to be not them in particular, but I thought women of that kind of like there's this one chick, there's this one Latina chick. She was a dentist of all things, and she was 55. She had a really good spirit, like she danced. She would dance her ass off all fucking to the end, and she kind of liked me, like I really thought. But I was pretty direct toward the end. I said, hey, you want to hang out? And she goes, I can't. It's kind of complicated, and I just let it go. I mean, it just. So that's the problem herein lies. You're. It's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. You go there and you want to dance, and you find somebody to dance with. They don't pursue. They don't want any more to do with you like that. So it's just a weird. It's a other my type either. And I think she was into me, and she's like, that's all backwards. I mean, she was like, I could tell she was probably pretty hot when she was young, and she's got a daughter. These women they're just too old. They're just not my type. They're not. They're There are some exceptions. There are some, but it's like every time I try, I'm getting this kind of like I'm not interested kind of thing. So it's like weird. So then why do you go? You know, like so it makes it seem like it's not worth the effort. Like you schlep all the way down to these things. It was just to dance. You know, like I've been dancing for almost 30 years. It doesn't. It's not a big deal. Like you know, I mean, people tell me, oh, at the end. I remember, like I went to the Irvine thing. When I went to get I went through to get down there. I'll never forget this as long as I live. I told you, I literally walked on the freeway. It looks like a freeway. The I forget the name of the street, but where I needed to go, that was the only way. So I can't believe the cars are going like 65 miles. They're flying by me. I thought I was going to get killed. I took the first off ramp. You know, I walking. And I remember this woman when I got there. Finally, she goes, "Well, how was the traffic?" And I go, you have no idea what I went through to get here. And she goes, traffic was that bad? And I go, there was not the traffic in my lane. You know, I'm walking on the side of the freeway. Jamboree Road, it's supposed to be, but it's a fucking highway toward the end. That's where I was. And get to this place and dance my ass off. I had a good time dancing, but you know, then like on 11 o'clock, close to 12, everybody leaves. They all complimenting me on my dancing. And here I was waiting for a taxi to pick me up to take me home. It was the most money I ever spent on a cab ride in my life, $140. I didn't mind. It wasn't really about it. Just, but I said to myself, why am I doing this? Now, granted, I told you I used to gamble. I used to, you know, I gambled away thousands upon thousands of dollars, you know. But you would think you would meet somebody. You really, you know, more than just going there and dancing your ass off. Somebody, a woman who's really sick, I'd like to get to know you. Like, what else? Like, I'm working on a doctor degree. I wrote down, like, nobody, they just, like, their needs are met kind of thing. Like, they're there, but they're not there. Like, you're not it. You know, I just don't know what to say. Like, now, even even before COVID, I could say the same. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you, this has been my life experience. Like, just different. And it's not a big deal. Like, so why do it? You know, like, well, the answer is because part of the delusional mind is that if anybody ever hears my dance story, you know, like, and they want to make a movie out of it, you know, I'm in first class condition to do something. You can't take somebody that dance 30 years and make it. It doesn't work that way. You got to be, you know, or worked out in 30 years and make them what they used to be. It doesn't work that way. So you have to keep yourself in first class condition for that reason. Now, I also do it for health concern because I want to be like I don't want time. Time eventually gets the best of you. There's no way like my knees and everything is gone. You know, I know, but it's like that old Corvette story I told you about. If the car is in first class condition, it's warmed up, it'll run. Keep it in the garage and it's never running and it's not a, you know, you're not keeping it in first class condition, it's going to have problems. I like my 70 Corvette with like, you know, in optimum condition. It could still fucking run. It's not dead. It's not done yet. It, even though like getting sick, oh my god, it feels like it takes the life out of you. Like, yep. But you know, you just have to kind of part about it. Hopefully, it's hard. It's supposed to do. You know, like I want to dance my ass off, and then I leave. I'm sweating, and it's cold out. What are you know? There's nothing you can do? You like, bring another change of clothes with you to the fucking club? I mean, no, I don't have a car. The guy's in a fucking mobile wheelchair, not a wheelchair, but like, and the guy just never anymore because you stand outside the security that building and just stand out there all night. It's not healthy. He goes, aren't you? He goes, no. Whenever he'd see me walking home, it's like, no, no, because I'm moving constantly. You gotta keep moving. Now, you go to the gym, it's kind of hard because, hold on a second. Ugh, put this down for a minute. Oh. Hold on. Sorry. The little critter that we saw. Apologize. They think they're kind of sticky, but I one up them, whatever that means. But I was saying, I told you about that one woman that I met. She was like in her 50s, and she knew like all these clubs in the 70s that were in there and everything like that. It's like just they were young past, they just stay home, or they're divorcees or whatever. They all go along with the same thing. A little different, and there's a price to pay for different. Like just the way it is. But most women don't established or whatever. That's not me. That's not me. I was a dream chaser. I used to go to, like I said, I don't drink anymore, but I used to go to bars and dance, like bodybuild. Women don't want that. I didn't focus on building a financial. I didn't. I didn't do all these things that women want to pay for you being you. Is it worth it? Really worth it, right? Yeah, Missy Elliott, she took like the locking. She put that, tried to mix it in the song, and it doesn't flow. It doesn't fucking. How can it? Because the time it doesn't. It's not from that time. You know. They all I do. They maybe they're trying to give respect to the old school, but it doesn't work that way. That's not how you do it. What you do is you type tracks like Bruno Mars, like 24 Karat Magic at the time, the Treasure, whatever. You're gonna look like you don't know what the fuck you're doing. People are gonna be like, yeah, that ain't tight. As a dancer, I know what a tight music is because I can hear the second I hear something, tell you, hey, that's dope. It's garbage. Of it is garbage. It can't even be recycled. It's trash. Say it, but I feel they just got bad fucking taste. You need more on a microphone. I just don't get it. Yeah, that'll be for another episode. Anyway, I appreciate it. This was a long one, but you know, you guys came some stuff that's worth listening to. Warrior Junior keeps. I'm not finished yet. The computer still. I know. This is what you call free extra video. Free extra. Hmm. Yeah. It won't work.